welcome to All Things Pharmacy. Today we're going to be talking about the combinatorial technique and the computer aided technique in drug design and development. That's going to be our main focus for today, but before we get into that, we're going to talk about the drug design and development process. This process begins by identifying a lead compound, and which is a possible drug candidate, evaluating its properties. These properties can be chemical, physical, or biological, and then making this candidate into a final product, and it is released into the market. And then after it is released into the market, there's post-market surveillance, which is a way of monitoring the drug in the population after it has been given to actual patients, and seeing whether the drug is effective, any side effects or any adverse effects or any contraindications that may have been missed. A lead compound is a chemical compound that has pharmacological or biological activity, and it usually is the main part of the medicine. It's the one that exerts the therapeutic or pharmacological activity inside the body. During the design and development of drugs, there has to be a lot of testing done. There are also things to consider during drug design and development, like the money to buy the raw material and the money that is used while performing the tests for evaluation. I'm just going to go ahead and list the stages of drug design and development. First stage is to actually find the lead compound. The second stage is to optimize the molecule. To optimize is basically to try and change the structure, to modify the structure so that it can exert the best therapeutic outcome or effect as possible. The next stage is to evaluate. After you modify, you evaluate using chemical tests. After the chemical test, the next stage is to come up with a formulation, which includes the dosage form. The next stage is the clinical trials, and after the clinical trials, the next stage is marketing. The product is now introduced to the market, and after that, the last stage is the post-market surveillance. Now we're going to go back to the first stage which I mentioned, which was finding a lead compound or detecting an activity of a bioactive molecule. There are different ways you can use to actually look for a lead compound. I'm going to mention a few of them. You can look for search for an active or bioactive molecule, which is a lead compound, in plants, and sometimes you can accidentally discover these kind of lead compounds. For example, maybe you wanted to use naphthalene, and instead of using naphthalene, you made a mistake and used another drug. That can lead to you discovering the lead compound of that new drug you discovered. Another way to find new lead compounds is through
comment, share, and subscribe.
The metabolites of the bioactive drug. A drug can be metabolized in the body into certain metabolites which have very different properties to the parent drug or to the initial drug. Maybe it has less side effects, and maybe the metabolite could also be more potent than the parent drug. Another way you can find out a lead compound is through mass screening. Mass screening is when it involves the testing of any material or any chemical, any compound you suspect that they could be a lead compound there, which could lead to a potential drug being developed. As you are mass screening, you're going to use the combinatorial technique and the computer aided design. When using the technique of mass screening, all of the available compounds that you actually want to screen are subjected to diverse biological tests, and these tests are done to show if there's going to be any activity from those compounds that you're screening, to see if they could possibly be lead compound, which could ultimately lead into a drug being designed. If you're to perform a test on a compound one by one, like one compound at a time, this would take a lot of time and it would be uneconomical, and it can also make data management very complicated, which is why the combinatorial technique and the computer aided technique were now starting to be used in this process to make it faster, and also to have a place where you can manage data and actually work with it better and possibly find even more and even better possible lead compounds and ultimately even better drugs. Combinatorial technique is described as the synthesis of compounds in mass instead of single compound, which are screened as a whole mixture for particular biological activity. This technique is based on a concept from combinatorial chemistry, and combinatorial chemistry is defined as systematic and repetitive covalent connection of a set of different building blocks of varying structures to each other to yield a large array of diverse molecular entities. The combinatorial technique includes a chemical library which stores the building blocks, which are covalently linked and repetitive and systematic. These building blocks, which can be small compounds or single compounds, are stored or assembled in the chemical library, and this chemical library is used to produce and generate a large array of diverse compounds as it assembles them. There are various methods in combinatorial chemistry, named as solid phase synthesis, solution phase synthesis, Flores phase synthesis, and the combination of all these three phases that I've just mentioned. And now moving on, we're going to discuss the next technique that has made the drug discovery process easier and also employs the principle of mass screening, which is computer aided technique for drug design. This technique is a widely used term that represents computational tools and resources for the storage, management, analysis, and modeling of molecules. Computer-aided drug design also includes compound libraries where mixtures, sets of individual compounds or chemical structures are generated by computer software. One of the important features of computer-aided design is that it includes computer programs for designing compounds with interesting characteristics. Computer-aided design involves more of manipulating the molecule on the screen and based on the structure or ligand. A ligand is an atom, cation, or neutral molecule used to bond to the central metal atom or ion to form coordination complex. Computer-aided design also involves the use of tools to assess potential lead candidates before they can be synthesized and also before they are tested. The tools are used to assess for bioactivity of the molecule, ADME of the molecule, the physiochemical structure and properties of the molecule. There are also digital stores which store any chemical interactions or either with another compound or with the target molecule. In using the CADD technique, in using the computer-aided drug design technique, numerous drugs have been discovered, like the drug used to treat HIV infection and to treat many other diseases. There's also one that treats the influenza infection, and also the drug called Viagra, which is to treat male erectile dysfunction. The computer-aided drug design and the combinatorial technique are very similar. However, the computer-aided drug design is more specific to the modeling of drugs and the analyzing of drugs as compared to the combinatorial technique. There's software and there are also tools that are used for analysis, and there are also digital stores, and this is something that is not very common with the combinatorial technique.
Thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe. Until next time.